September 6, 1945, Coronado, California. A small welcome home party gathers in a stucco house 2 blocks from the Naval Air Station. Vice Admiral John Sidney McCain Sr. arrives exhausted in a wrinkled uniform. He is 61 years old. He weighs 100 pounds. He has not slept properly in 8 days. At 17:10 in the afternoon, he turns to his wife, says he does not feel well, and sits down. 4 days earlier, he had stood on the deck of the USS Missouri and watched the Empire of Japan surrender. He will not see another sunrise. The war has been over for 4 days. Across the country, ticker tape parades fill the streets of every American city. In Times Square, sailors are still kissing strangers. In Tokyo Bay, the battleship that carried the surrender signing flies 16 battle stars. The man whose carriers had broken the last of the Japanese Navy is now sitting on a couch in California. The doctor will arrive in 9 minutes. By morning, John Sidney McCain Sr., called Slew by everyone who knew him, will be on the front page of every newspaper in America. He had not been supposed to die. The plan had been simple: stand on the Missouri, watch the surrender. Fly home, rest, take up new duties as head of Veterans Affairs in Washington. The Navy had a desk waiting for him. His wife, Catherine, had been planning the welcome home party for 3 weeks. His son, a submarine commander, had said goodbye to him in Tokyo Bay 48 hours earlier on the deck of the USS Proteus. It would be the last time they spoke. Something had happened in those 4 days that no plan accounted for. What happened to Halsey's carrier admiral between the morning of September 2nd and the afternoon of September 6th is one of the strangest endings of the entire Pacific War. A man who had outflown 3 typhoons, who had directed the final strikes on the Japanese home islands, who had stood in the front rank of officers watching Japan sign surrender, came home, sat down and quietly stopped. He had survived everything the Empire could throw at him. He could not survive the 4 days after victory. To understand why, you have to start with the man Halsey trusted more than any other. But to understand what killed him, we have to look back to 1944, when Slew McCain was a 59-year-old Vice Admiral nobody in Washington, believed, should be commanding carriers, and the only man who fought for his command was a battleship sailor named Halsey. The story of those 4 days at the end is the story of a friendship that began at the Naval Academy in 1903. Halsey would protect McCain past the point of common sense, and McCain would honour that protection past the point of his own life. That is what we are looking at. John Sidney McCain was born on August 9, 1884, in Carroll County, Mississippi, the second son of a cotton plantation family. He went to the Naval Academy because his older brother went to West Point. He graduated 79th out of 116 in the class of 1906. The yearbook called him the skeleton in the family closet. For the next 29 years, he served on battleships, cruisers, ammunition ships. He smoked rolled cigarettes, gambled, drank bourbon. He was 5 feet 7, 90 pounds in his stocking feet and stubborn. In 1935, at the age of 50, he applied for flight school. The Navy did not want 50-year-old aviators. McCain was the second oldest man to ever earn his wings at Pensacola. The oldest had been William F. Halsey Jr., who graduated the year before him at age 52. The two had known each other since 1903, when both were midshipmen on the training cruise of the USS Chesapeake. 41 years later, Halsey would call McCain to his flag bridge and give him command of the entire fast carrier force. Senior aviators thought McCain was sloppy, impulsive, a Johnny-come-lately. Halsey thought he was a fighter. He wanted a fighter. In October 1944, McCain took command of Task Force 38, the fast carrier striking force of Halsey's 3rd Fleet. 12 fleet carriers. 6 fast battleships, roughly 900 aircraft. It was the most powerful naval force ever assembled. For the next 10 months, McCain ran it almost without a break, strikes on Formosa, Indochina, the Philippines. Operations off Okinawa. By July of 1945, his pilots were flying daily missions against airfields on the Japanese home islands. The Imperial Navy had nothing left to send up. The Imperial Air Force had nothing left to defend with. The numbers are difficult to comprehend. Between January and August 1945, Task Force 38 destroyed or damaged over 3,000 Japanese aircraft and bombed every major airfield in the home islands. The campaign cost the Japanese what remained of their capacity to wage war. It cost McCain his health. He was on the bridge 16 to 18 hours a day. He slept in his flight jacket. The Navy doctor on his flagship, the USS Shangri-La, told him in July that his blood pressure was dangerously high and his heart was straining. McCain shrugged. The war was almost over. By August, the weight loss was alarming. At his commissioning weight in 1944, McCain had been 140 pounds. By VJ Day, his uniform hung off him. His flag aide on the Shangri-La, Commander John Thack, the same Thack who had invented the Thack-Weave fighter tactic that broke the Japanese zero, quietly ordered double rations for the Admiral's table. McCain ate almost none of it. He chewed tobacco constantly. He told Halsey he would rest after the surrender. Halsey, who had not slept properly in 2 years either, did not argue. Both men were running on borrowed nerve. What happens in the next 2 minutes is not in any official Navy record. If this is the history you want more of, subscribe. On August 15th, the day Japan surrendered, an order reached the 3rd Fleet flagship from Pearl Harbor. Vice Admiral John Towers, Nimitz's air chief, was to relieve McCain as commander of Task Force 38 immediately. Towers had argued for 2 years that McCain was a sloppy administrator who got the job through Halsey's loyalty. With the war ending, Towers wanted the command. Halsey read the dispatch in his sea cabin aboard the Missouri. He picked up the intership telephone. Halsey called Nimitz directly. The conversation is not in the official record. What is in the record is that 30 minutes later the relief order was suspended. McCain would attend the surrender as commander of Task Force 38. Halsey then walked to McCain's cabin. McCain was at his desk, jacket off, working through dispatches. He had requested home leave. The doctor had cleared him only for stateside duty. Halsey told him about the order. He told him he had suspended it. He told him that the man who had broken the Japanese Navy was going to be on that deck when they surrendered. McCain did not argue. September 2nd, 1945. The deck of the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. 259 Allied warships surround her. At 8:56 in the morning, the Japanese delegates arrive aboard the destroyer USS Lansdowne. McCain stands in the first rank of officers, 8 feet behind General Douglas MacArthur, beside Halsey, beside Nimitz. He is in service dress khakis. His ribbons are dull from sea salt. He weighs 100 pounds. At 9:04, the Japanese foreign minister signs the surrender document. Halsey signs for the United States Navy. McCain does not sign. He watches. The war ends at 9:18. After the ceremony, McCain is rowed across the harbor to the submarine tender USS Proteus. His son, Commander John Sidney McCain Jr., is waiting on deck. They have not seen each other since 1943. Jack McCain has spent the war commanding the submarines USS Gunnell and USS Dentuda. Father and son sit in the wardroom for 40 minutes. Jack will later say his father looked like a man who had already left. Before they part, the Admiral says one thing his son will repeat for the rest of his life. Son, it is an honor to die for the country and the principles you believe in. Then he goes back to pack. That afternoon, McCain boards a Navy fighter aircraft for the flight back to the United States. There is no diplomatic flight, no Admiral's plane. He flies in the gunner's seat of a single-engine pursuit plane, island-hopping from Iwo Jima to Wake to Pearl Harbor to San Diego. A day and a half in the air in canvas straps in a bucket seat. He arrives at Coronado Naval Air Station September 5th. His wife Catherine is waiting for him on the tarmac with a wool coat over her arm. He has been overseas for 13 months. He is asleep before they reach the house. The next afternoon, the welcome home party begins at 3 o'clock. Family, a few neighbors, 2 of his Annapolis classmates. Catherine has cooked the meal he had requested by letter from Tokyo. He tells stories about the surrender. He jokes about 3 new cocktails he wants to invent, named after Japanese aircraft. Zeke, Jill, Judy. Each time you drink one, you say, "Splash one Judy, splash one Zeke." The guests laugh. At 17:10, McCain stands, says he does not feel well, and walks toward the bedroom. He sits down on the bed. He is dead before the doctor arrives. He had been home for less than half a day. Vice Admiral John Sidney McCain Sr. died on September 6, 1945. He was 61. He is buried near Section 3 of Arlington National Cemetery. In 1949, Congress promoted him posthumously to the rank of full admiral. Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal said of him, "He was a fighting man all the way through." McCain Field at the Naval Air Station Meridian, Mississippi, still bears his name. So does the destroyer USS John S. McCain, currently homeported in Yokosuka, Japan, less than 30 miles from where he stood on the deck of the Missouri. He is the carrier Admiral Halsey trusted when Washington would not. His son became a 4-star admiral and commanded the Pacific Fleet during the Vietnam War. His grandson became a naval aviator, a prisoner of war for 5 years in Hanoi, and a United States Senator. 3 generations, 1 Navy. If your father, your grandfather, your uncle, anyone in your family served in the Pacific in any branch on any ship, leave their name in the comments below. Don't just leave the name. Tell us one thing about them, one thing they did, or one thing they said, or one thing you remember. The men who were there deserve more than a name in a database. They deserve to be remembered as people. Subscribe if you want the next story. There are more of them.